Oh, okay. All right.
So,
No, she wasn't.
Okay, we got, let's see.
can I move this for you so I can sit down?
Sorry.
There's two
Sure.
things for the
Sorry. Can you-
workshop that we.
You need that there, or is your tripod work?
There's.
Excuse me, is it okay?
Yeah, that's good.
Did
Okay,
you bring,
all right.
did you bring maps? Okay, all right.
We brought
We do
2,000,
those
6
first.
copies.
Let's do the workshop first.
Okay, we get at our workshop here, it's 7 o'clock.
I see that. Okay, two things on the workshop before we get to the agenda stuff. Two people have come forward and asked for review of sketch plans. Here's that. And the first one I have is Gary and Joe Morrison from Bridgewater Township. We need more? Yeah, we need another one. Okay, what they want to do is, they have an existing stone saw shop. It's right across from where Bendix used to be on State Route 3029, Bendix Road. And what they want to do is double the size of that stone saw shop, adding an additional 30 feet by 60-foot addition onto it. There's an existing driveway. They're looking for a driveway permit. They've been in touch with Sal Donato about that. He's looking for a copy of a permit for them. And Francis Fruhan is doing up the map and presented these as a sketch plan. I noticed one thing that's missing on Fran's map is the building setback distances for Bridgewater Township. They're 35 feet from the edge of the right-of-way, or from the right-of-way of the road. When you scale this, the new building meets that 35 feet, but Fran needs to put that on there somewhere, and I think Joe was actually talking to Fran about putting that on the map. And what was the other thing? The deed book and page or something like that, I think was required.
Question.
I'm sorry? You mean like an area, like you are here type of thing? Location map, that's another thing. I can talk to them, a location map. What they usually do, Jill, is use a picture from the plat book, a sketch from the plat book or something, so they can tell where in the universe it is. Anyway, this is just for to take a look at, and it'll be on the agenda next month, but they want to get an idea of if the planning commission had any problems with it.
Well, it looks like the addition is getting farther away from the road than the existing
Yeah,
building.
that's what it looks like to me. There's, like I said, there's an existing driveway there. They're looking for a driveway permit. It's gravel. I was wondering if the ordinance says that when you increase the impervious surface, either the building size or the impervious surface by 25% or more, then it requires a plan. And I asked Fran if this would be considered already impervious. He said no, it's gravel. So that's why, it's kind of why they're here with the plan. I don't know what else to say about it. Joe?
Can I say something?
Sure.
One, Sal did give me the original permit, that's what with that little note you were
That thing?
given. Sal was able to give me the original permit number that my dad had.
Oh, yeah, and they're gonna
And what
change the
happened
name.
is they're
Yeah.
changing it in
Right.
Harrisburg, his supervisor's not coming back to the 5th.
Okay.
In order to tell me where that stands
So
in
probably by
Harrisburg.
next month you'll have that.
I should very much have that.
But they've already given us the application, the filing fee and all that stuff, but it happened to come in this week, so. I'll put it on the agenda.
This is something that we would require some information about the,
Well, thank you very much.
sewage planning on the original lot.
Yeah, they have a portable toilet here.
I see that.
See that? You mean on this page, on what lot? On the other lot?
Saying it was subdivided in half.
Right, that was an approved subdivision, I can't tell you when.
We've been there 11 years.
Yeah.
No, we can't comment when they bring this up this time.
Yeah, subdivided 2001. I couldn't look that up. See what sewer, they must have done sewer planning.
We do have sewer at our house. But down there, because they're not there at all times, that's why they utilize the body, because they're only other times in the summer, or in the summertime, they're not there, so.
Okay, I'll look for some. Subdivision.
I don't really see anything else. Apparently the public road was moved at one time. It was abandoned.
Abandoned roadways, yeah, and that's the driveway you use, right? That abandoned roadway thing?
That's what the Wilsons and our property that we bought up with Tom Robinson that actually borders that.
Anything else? Anybody see?
I don't know anything.
Did you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Everybody happy? What do you want to see?
Move on to something else.
Okay, go on to the Dunkin' Donuts.
Well, I brought 6 copies of this conceptual plan. Pass it around the table? Sure.
Did you? Okay. Oh, you
signed the sheets for each.
Yes. And the other one, yeah. That's what you said.
No, share one. No.
They're gonna arrest you. They do.
Well, maybe there are 2 copies of each. Give some comment.
Next to County Jack, across from County Jack. Now, the reason this is at the workshop, they have a question, this is Dunkin' Donuts, they're proposing, well, let me back up a little bit. A couple months ago, the planning commission approved a subdivision. No, you didn't do it, it was an addition, that's right. Mr. Monfort did an addition from lands that he owns. He reconfigured a lot. They came up with this 1 acre lot. They split up another lot that was right next to it and created this 1 acre lot. And now Dunkin' Donuts is going to, asking to develop this. And the sketch plan that you're looking at here you have some questions on the setbacks for the parking area.
Yeah, we encroach in there's a required 15-foot setback for adjacent properties.
Right here.
And as you look around the plan, the setback, parking setback is the small dotted line that goes around the perimeter of the site.
If you see, there's on the right-hand side, there's a 20-foot and a 15-foot. That 15-foot would be the parking setback. And if you see that the parking spaces extend in it maybe like 2 or 3 feet.
Well, we're almost 10 feet at what would be the northern end of the property. Yeah.
What's next to you in that area?
Right now, nothing.
Oh, okay, over here, you're saying, yeah.
To the left-hand side is a fireworks store, access road to the hotel. And to the right-hand side is Flying J. And
This is
across
Flying J
Township
over
Route
here.
560 is McDonald's.
We have the route number on here.
It's Township Route
Yeah, right
560.
here.
Yeah, this is the private road going into, going back to the motel.
Yeah, there's no location.
Okay. Mark that down.
Well, we intend to prepare a preliminary land development plan for submission to the county. It'll have all the location maps, et cetera.
Is there some reason they couldn't have had that property line moved up to? Something about the remaining acreage or something?
The upper property line.
Well, isn't that a property line where you're saying the parking areas encroach?
Yes. Yeah, that's a property line. This site measures exactly 1 acre, and it was done that way by design. That's where that property line ends up with that acre. as far as acquiring more property, I can't speak for the owner on that. I'm bound to this property as it is, as it's been subdivided.
Might be something to ask the owner, since this is just a sketch plan, right? Unless there's something really permanent here next to it.
The adjacent property is undeveloped. It's owned by Reno Montfort, and it's all, the whole area is a commercial development. Initially, we prepared plans for this development back in 2000, 2001. It would have included a convenience store in that area, a drive-in bank, and an office building, along with the hotel in the rear. Now, the only thing that's materialized is the hotel. And several years ago, Model Tire put up a building there that's now a fireworks store, just down below the hotel.
Yeah, I know there's a fireworks store.
Two of them.
There's two of them.
So the lot originally was probably subdivided for some other reason.
This lot here was subdivided specifically, and Jerry, correct me if I'm wrong, for the Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, he basically, my name's Jerry Fives, I'm the franchisee. When I discussed this with Reno, he basically divided each one of these parcels up into 1 acre parcels, to keep it even.
Some of the issues that you have was the bus coming in with buses, right?
Well,
And-
yeah, the reason I prepared two plans, you see,
Okay.
if you notice the gray path that goes through there, that's the path that actually a super cab pickup truck would take to get in, go through the drive-through and out. We put that on there to demonstrate that that vehicle can make that. If you turn to the next page, it's the same plan. The only difference is it shows the path of the bus coming in the main entrance and an exit along the side on the driveway that goes to the hotel. We showed those just to demonstrate that those movements could be made.
What's the difference then between the two, other than the bus lane? Do you lose parking or something with the number 2 or something like that?
That's merely to demonstrate that the bus can get in
Okay.
and out. Now, the bus, when he's in there, will have to park adjacent to one of the dedicated parking
Right.
spaces.
But the same parking spaces and the same distances and
Yes.
stuff like
It's
that?
just,
And the bus on
Yeah.
the-
The Heinz
Just-
one, that was that a preliminary?
No, they actually proposed that. That was, that was the full-blown plan that they were, this was, but they took that away, they pulled that one, they're not gonna do that anymore. That was in Bridgewater Township.
Would that bus be exiting onto other property, or is that onto a roadway, or?
Coming out onto the township road, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, coming back out onto the township road.
It would first exit onto the road that goes to the hotel, which is under ownership of Reno Montfort.
Right.
And he's the owner of the property to the north of the site. And I believe if we approach him, he would be willing to grant permission to park within that setback, simply because anything that happens on that adjacent site would be similar in nature, some kind of business-oriented establishment.
You're talking about the bus one?
I'm talking about the setback itself.
Oh,
the
okay.
parking
Thank you.
setback.
Right, parking setback. Yeah, like we talked about in the office, if this parking setback is, what did you say, it was, over here it's only a few feet, but here it's like 10 feet, so you're only about 5 feet from the property line?
Yeah, 5.67 feet from the property line
Okay.
along that northern border.
So it would require a variance.
Right.
Which is something we don't like to do unless absolutely necessary. Although parking is not like a building, where the line is.
Would it be helpful if we could obtain a letter from the adjacent property owner?
I think we've done that in the
Is
past.
it okay?
for Andrews, isn't it?
That's what I mentioned to him.
So
Yes,
Mr.
yeah.
Monfort still owns the land
Right.
next to it?
Yes, as well as the road to the hotel.
He still owns it, huh? He takes care of
He
it.
builds it, he owns it, he maintains it, yeah.
Make sure you put that on the plan. That, you know, the maintenance of the road, whose responsibility is, because you don't know who's stuck with it.
Yeah, as far as we know, I mean, not speaking for-
Yeah.
as far as we know, he's maintaining that road.
So there's no, so it's, when it's recorded, when the map is recorded,
Map's
it
recorded,
says
it says that it's his responsibility
Right.
to pull all the snow removal and, so, yeah.
Yeah, this is just conceptual in nature. Like I said, we intend to prepare a
Sure.
full.
No, that's an important thing, like, we just, Eleanor and I just had a fellow in today, like, you know, who's responsible for this and that, and the other thing, if it's in the deed, and you get into a big mess if it's not specifically stated.
Yeah, he put that road in specifically for the hotel, knowing that he was gonna build it, own it, maintain it.
Okay, yep. Yeah. Because it's not a township road, so
No, it's not.
it's important to know.
As a matter of fact, I considered it a driveway.
Mhm.
Don't see anything else, question?
That was the big question, the parking setback. You know, they can fit everything else on. As far as the number of parking spaces, did you check that out? I didn't check it out.
We have a total of 30.
Right.
The ordinance requires one space for every 50 square feet of floor area
Open to the public. Now, that's something you and I didn't know. That's- Yeah.
I understand there's 800 square feet in a typical Dunkin' Donuts that's
Okay,
open to the
open to the
public.
public, so how's that come out then?
So that means we
Math
need
easily.
16 spaces,
Okay, and you have 30, yep.
plus an extra 5 for the drive-through to stack up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, if it stacks up and then you can't get to 5 parking spots, you lose 5 now.
Right. We have 30, so we're what?
Yeah, more than
We
enough then.
exceed that. And
Did
we'll
you work out the dumpster thing?
I have, in the upper left-hand corner, I've got a dumpster pad,
Yeah.
just
Because
to acknowledge it.
they were talking about like the trucks coming in to empty that have to be able to get to that too.
That might be some subject to
Change.
manipulation, just to make sure, like you said, a truck can't get in there, pick it up and dump it and go.
And signage, we talked about, there's no, you know, we don't have an ordinance and the township doesn't, as far as we know,
The one across the street at McDonald's is
so, yeah,
pretty big.
pretty high. Lighting,
The parking lot will be lit, and the lighting will be directed in towards the property.
mhm.
So there shouldn't be any spillover onto adjacent properties, although, as I said before, it's all.
It's all commercial
property.
anyway.
The water and sewer are provided by somebody else?
Sewer is the sewer plant, right? Reno's
Oh, yeah.
sewer plant.
Does have that one.
As long as he has enough, now he already gave a letter when we did the subdivision that he would serve, you know, he has enough sewage capacity to serve the lot. Now, you'll need another, you know, get another letter from him that he can serve Dunkin' Donuts, whatever, if there's more requirements for Dunkin' Donuts. You know, we talked about that.
Yeah, from what we investigated, that's not an issue.
Yeah, not an issue.
There's plenty of DVDs for that.
Mhm.
And water will be, there will be a well drilled outside.
So probably back in here or something.
There is some open space
Yep.
And we'll prepare a stormwater management plan as well.
Mhm.
There are drainage and outfall directly to the creek. We'll be tying into there. We'll probably have some sort of subsurface detention system
Oh, yeah.
to regulate flows, so that we're not overloading that system.
And any kind of like landscaping. Like you said, the main reason tonight was this parking setback thing, to get an idea what the planning commission felt about that. Any other issues?
And this is New Milford Township?
Right, that's correct.
You don't have any specific ordinances or anything? that would
No.
apply?
I'm what I know of, that I've run across. We do require, if you approve this, that we have one in Montrose too.
Can I get that in the way?
We're working on that.
I'll bet you are.
For about 10 years, I believe.
Yeah.
Somebody said before there weren't enough policemen in Montrose to make a Dunkin' Donut work.
I think there's a 10 up the man. 10 years.
Anybody else have any more questions?
Do we need all these copies, or do they?
No, you want to take them back? 'Cause
I can read them and take them over.
let's take them off.
Everything, wrap it all up together, I guess.
So that'll be on the agenda next month, right? We're gonna have it ready for next month. You think?
Is that when we can get on the next,
Is that
as quickly
okay?
as possible?
Yeah, I mean, that's our next meeting, so.
We will try, but we haven't approached any kind of design yet, stormwater or otherwise.
Okay.
That's just the other one.
Does it need to be submitted a certain amount of time before the meeting?
It's nice to have it 2 weeks ahead so I can write it up for the meeting. And you don't, like, you know, like you said, if you don't have the stormwater stuff, I mean, you could always ask for conditional preliminary approval. You're looking for preliminary approval,
Yeah.
and then you could ask for conditional if you're waiting for the stormwater or something like that.
Basically what we're doing, we're in the due diligence phase,
Mhm.
so that I can satisfy my LOI with Reno.
Right.
So I'm just going through all the process and everything else that we've done up to this point. We're in parallel with legal to affirm that the property is suitable for development. And we haven't hit any roadblocks yet.
Well, maybe that's the approach we'll take then.
Yeah, at least get this part taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Anything you want to bring up that's gonna be on the agenda?
Whatever you want. That was all I had for the workshop.
Bob, excuse me, do we need to be present for the,
You're done.
we're good.
You can leave if you want. You can stay and have fun.
We'll see you in a month. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Thank you all.
What do you want to talk about next? Talk about this?
Yeah, so if we do that.
What this is,
We're gonna start.
oh, I didn't see it, okay. The people in Harford, I'm talking to Julie Nicholas now, from Williams. The people in Harford presented to the Planning Commission a copy of the Harford Township Noise Ordinance. And they are, the people from Harford who are concerned about the Miller Compressor Station are saying that Williams needs to meet the ordinance requirements of Harford Township. So that's what this is all about here. If you want to pass it around, people who...
All three, are they
No.
different ones, or are they all?
No, there's only two that are different. There's two that are separate. There's ordinance number 42, which was passed in 2010,
There's this.
and there's ordinance number 44, passed in 2011. And you'll notice in section 4 of Article 44 that it uses the more stringent laws on noise ordinance. And the industry is specified in ordinance 42 also.
Do they have a decibel level included or
And
something?
in ordinance
No.
42, they don't.
They
In
do
ordinance
have it in
40
44.
In 44, they have to be 25, I think the readings are there, it's 40, or 25 feet from the property line, they take a 50 decimal. But you'll also notice in 44, the highlighted relationship with other restrictions reverts it back to 42. The ordinance 42.
So that's the one with the decibel level?
And also,
44
has decimal levels, 42 doesn't. In 44, it talks about the relationship to 42, meaning saying that the ordinance with the more stringent restrictions is the ones they use.
This is ordinance 44 here.
Right.
And you'll notice on the highlighted on that other page that it reverts it back to 42 really.
There's also a different setback in the Harford ordinance.
Is there?
Yeah, instead of going to the nearest occupied building, it's 25 feet.
Oh, noise,
For the noise testing requirement, it has to be within the property of where the compressor station is. If I understood it correctly, 25 feet from the border, from the property line, that's where they are to measure no higher than 50 decibels.
And we're under the understanding that there's technology to make them quieter that just hasn't been used.
And Williams did not, as far as I know, do the sound test based on the township ordinance. They used the county ordinance. Township ordinance is precedent over, it supersedes, the county.
So do you have any information on that, Julie, where the test was done?
Yeah, we have the sound test here. Harford, that's Harford. I think you have it, Eleanor.
We would just
No, I
like to
have
soundproof it.
I have it here.
Mrs. Gibson.
Also, if you look at 42, they have in there for medical problem, which I do. I broke my neck in 4 different places. I've had 3 operations. I've had brain surgery done. And it seems like it really doesn't matter in this thing. Well, according to our
Noise
our
ordinance.
regulations, they should come into play.
And we're understanding they have the technology to quiet it, so we're just requesting that they use the technology available to them before approval.
When the townships pass ordinances like
Mhm.
this
Yep.
that affect something that we do, shouldn't they be making us aware of that?
Yeah, they should. They don't, but they should.
So all we can do basically is what our ordinance requires.
Right, but what I'm looking for, John, is, like I just mentioned when that Joe Morrison was here, we have to go by the township setbacks, like Bridgewater has
True.
a building setback.
But we know what they are, right?
Right, they tell us.
When they had a copy of it though to review and like that, they should have told us at that
Yeah,
time.
we send, it's not that they're in the dark, the township I'm talking about. We send them the copy of the plan. If they haven't, well, here. Okay, this is more. There you go. Okay, we send them the plan. They send this thing, a report, admissible report form, no objection. How are we supposed to know, if they don't tell us?
The township doesn't trust. When was that letter sent to the township?
Let's see, that was when we always send it when we get the plan. I'll try in a second here. June 17th, 2013. June 17th. Yeah, June 17th, 2013. They returned it, I lost it again. We received it August 14th, 2013. If they have an issue or have other ordinances, they need to let us know.
When was the ordinance dated?
Say, John.
Oh, what's that? 2011 ordinance.
So that was in effect when they got the plan.
Ordinance.
2 was prior to that.
Yeah, it's 2010.
February
But
15th,
we have to know that
2011.
they have an ordinance to go by it. Yeah. They have to, these townships have to get their act together.
So basically sounds though like if you have a problem with the noise, you've got to talk to the township.
They have a formal complaint, and we would like the time to work this out at the township level, but we humbly request the time to do so with not giving them final approval yet at this time.
I spoke with the township supervisor, Mr. Owen. There's 3 supervisors today, and he said that Williams did contact him, and they knew about the township ordinance. Instead, Williams chose to go after the county ordinance because it is less stringent. And they told, Williams' representative told Owens that there's no way we can comply with your ordinance. It is too stringent. So they decided on their own to go after the county. They have no right to decide which ordinance is less stringent for them.
Even though the letter was sent a year ago, they just started the testing and running it and to test it to see if they can get final approval. And that's where the whole problem is during the noise and during the running of the testing. That's when the people of the township has gotten the full brunt of the noise and everything. So we'd just like some time to work this out. And we'd request that they don't get final approval until they meet all the local regulations.
Are there any other things that we need
No.
before giving them final approval?
No, everything is all there as far as I was concerned. That's right. Yeah.
Well, just a correction, it would appear not to meet.
Right,
There were-
right.
this one-
And I need to
we
find
don't know
something
for
in
sure.
our ordinance that says that.
There are only like supersede cars. Oh, no question about that.
Clarification from the township.
Better.
Contingent on a clarification from the township.
Basically, in a way, we've already got that, even though they're not.
They said a maximum objective.
They've only been
So
running
they didn't
it
even check
for...
to see the method ordinance, it doesn't sound like.
Yeah.
They just signed that?
I think a lot of townships do things like that. They don't realize what they're doing.
Yep.
I bet they didn't realize.
They don't have a noise ordinance.
Well, we should start our meeting and drop that for the time being. Okay. Let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. Do we have the flag?
We don't have a flag.
We'll still say the Pledge of
I'll
Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Okay, the first order of business is the approval of last month's minutes. We've all had a copy of those, had a chance to look at them.
I so move that the minutes be approved.
Second.
Mr. Chairman. Communications.
Okay, there were no additional communications from the time that I sent them out to you last Tuesday, whatever it was, Monday, Tuesday, Tuesday. Nothing new, so what you got is what we got. Mostly consumptive use type of things. Only one DEP approval on month. DEP must be on vacation or something.
Everyone happy with the communications set out? Okay, we don't need a motion on
Nope.
that. Staff reports, county planning director.
I'm up there, I went to court. Big thing. don't know anything about that yet. The judge gave him 15 days to submit a summation, and then 10 days for our county solicitor to answer that. And I think that was actually up to like 25 days. The 15 days was up to 25 days, extended to 25 days.
That's a pretty standard
Yeah,
procedure.
yeah. In the meantime, the judge is retired.
But he still will have that case.
Yeah, he'll still have that case.
You may never hear, unless you go up. No, I mean, it's very normal for some of the people that testify and are involved for the case to be settled and you don't get the final result.
And then the big deal in our office was we got a scanner, which we can now scan all these papers in rather than microfilming. That's a big deal. Commissioners gave us money. That's good. That's really fun. I got one whole year done already. Yeah, that's good.
Eleanor's report. Everybody had a chance to look at that. Would somebody like to make a motion to approve those reports?
So moved. Second.
Are you able to open any windows? I mean, it's so stifling.
It's terrible in here.
Yeah, it's like an oven.
The old courthouse used to be hot in one room and freezing
Thank
in
you.
another.
Yeah, I see no thermostat anywhere. I was looking.
At least they have windows.
Yeah, thankfully.
Okay, at this time, we have a slot open for any public comment specifically concerning any issue that is to come before the board tonight. So if somebody would like to speak on that, just tell us your name and who you represent and what your interests are.
Well, go ahead, Jim.
Jim Tuttle, and we're on the Miller Compressor Station, Williams Miller Compressor Station in Harford Township. And we would like more time for the township to request and to bring Williams Compressor Station into the local ordinance. They have the technology capable of complying with the noise ordinance, and we would like to just have some more time for them to comply with the local regulations before they're approved for operation.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
The other gentleman?
I'm Ben Tuttle, and I even showed this gentleman the scan of my brain and explained to him what the problem was. Now I got a worse problem because the noise keeps me up, and now I'm super noise sensitive, so now I get to take more seizure medicine just so I can move around a little bit. But I mean, I might better have talked to the side of the barn. You know what I mean? I ain't getting nowhere here.
Thank you for your comments. This gentleman here had his hand raised.
Yes, my name is Jake Knowlton. Want to speak in regards to the Gibson Compressor Station. I am the nearest home to the station, non-participating, and I was wondering if I could receive a copy of the testing completed, and also if request a review comment period so that I could review the work completed by Williams on the sound testing.
A review and comment period.
Yeah,
What exactly are you?
Well, I'm the nearest non-participating home, and I would like to see the testing that was completed, that it was done correctly.
We have extra copies. Eleanor has them there. In the Gibson Compressor Station plan.
Do you have ordinances in Gibson? Noise ordinances?
No.
How would you find?
It's right in there. It's right on top.
On top?
Right on top.
All right.
Noise thing.
Oh, yeah, sound source. Do you want to just give a copy?
Well, can we? Is it allowed?
It's public information.
Okay.
Yeah. This is an open meeting.
Now, you
Sound
mentioned
source.
a time period. What are you talking about in the way of time?
Well,
Now, this can't go on forever.
could we have 30 days?
Mhm.
May have to talk to our attorney, county attorney,
Okay.
see if that's allowable. What do you think about that?
I don't think you need to.
You don't think so?
If he has a problem with Williams, he has to deal with it. It meets our ordinance, okay?
Okay.
This is not one that has their own ordinance, this is not one that has another ordinance. It meets the county, this study says that it meets the ordinance. We don't know that. If he wants to dispute it, he would have to dispute it with the sound engineer. That's my opinion, okay?
You're probably right.
It meets the ordinance, what it says here in the ordinance. They say that it meets the 50 decibels. We don't know that because we don't go out and take those readings. But we're accepting the engineer's stuff.
We accept lots of engineers and surveyors and SEOs and PennDOT and other people's professional expertise.
That's just my opinion. I'm not planning commission.
Well,
Was a sound decibel reading taken at this gentleman's home? If he is the
is he the
closest?
nearest participating?
Yeah, you're the
Not
closest one. It
participating.
must have been. It's got to be in there.
I don't know, I was never contacted.
Well, it should be
It's
on
in the,
that
it's in the
paperwork.
report.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Should
why
be in the
you-
report,
You wanted a copy of the
Yeah.
report, so you can look at it and see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if you're still not satisfied, you've always got the option of getting your own expert
Mm-hmm.
and, you know, challenging them.
Okay.
But
It's a little different than that Harford issue. Harford has their own ordinance, which we were not aware of, or you know, was not part of the review of the planning commission.
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I just want to make sure we got a proper testing done.
Sure. Yeah, but the planning commission and the county does not do testing.
Yeah, I know
You know,
that.
the
I understand
engineers
that.
do, so.
I understand that. I just thought from speaking with the committee before, I would have been contacted about testing done on my property, I guess.
Why?
Well, I don't know. I said from the nearest non-participating home.
Yeah. Okay.
I assume not from us, you're not saying.
No,
us.
but from
okay,
from
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 them.
the people doing the
Right.
testing, not
Oh,
from
I see.
you.
Oh, okay.
You know?
But when the county reviewed that report, did it show that gentleman's house?
Yeah.
It
this
did.
is in there.
Okay.
Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, not that it doesn't matter, but they say it meets the ordinance. That's it. Okay? The county is not going to say, I don't trust that survey, I don't trust that SEO's work, I don't trust that driveway permit location. The county has not done that. That's what John is saying, we accept it. The engineer's, you know, certification and all.
And another thing, we have no budget, this particular board. Anything that we would request would have to be approved by the county commissioners.
Well,
So,
the county has no equipment or way.
right, they would
Yeah,
have
they've
to
made
hire
the
an
determin-
expert.
They have to hire
To do it.
engineers.
Right.
They have to hire
Right.
engineers.
They have to go out and hire another
They'd have to hire
engineer to
somebody.
dispute the engineers, you know. And that's, goes, again, what John said, the county doesn't, as a practice, dispute engineers' work. They just don't.
Well, we have to rely on registered people, they can
Right.
only have a
Right.
license.
But if Mr. Knowlton has a, you know, if he feels that it's, you can go out and hire your own engineer and
Mhm.
then dispute that.
And then you
Take
can
it
always
from there.
go to the registration board. If you find that this gentleman has done something that's not right,
Yeah.
you have the option to go to the professional registration board.
Okay.
The gentleman in the back first.
I'm Mike Gatchi, I'm with Williams Community Outreach, and I just wanted to add that we've met with some of the neighbors here on this issue, and specifically Mr. Nolan explained the process, offered to provide lists of possible sound engineers that could do an additional study if he so deemed it necessary. So, you know, we're aware of their concerns and have been in dialogue in many cases with Mr. Knowlton and actually Mr. Tuttle as well. I've met at his house several times. So it's not a case where we haven't been in dialogue, we haven't had conversations, we haven't explained the process for the sound surveys and what's done. So I'm looking at this now, and it seems like we did the survey at the road. If it met the requirement of the road, it was actually closer than would have been the necessary requirement at the resident. So if it's actually closer, we've met the requirement. It would probably be even less at the actual resident, so we wouldn't have to disturb him.
Just all night I get disturbed, that's all.
Are you disturbed now by the noise?
You had your hand up.
I also want to object to the... Me? I'm Vera Scroggins, and I want to say that I want to object to the type of testing that Williams does, because they're only testing 2 of the actual compressors in operation. There's 5 compressors, and I believe there's 5 on this site also for Mr. Gibson. And they're not doing full load. So what they do is they test 2 of the compressors at full, they don't do the full load, and then they do a projection of what might be the result. And I object to that kind of testing. I would like them to do again testing when they're in full load, full operation, and see if they can be within the 50 decibels, which I doubt they will be. Especially next to his house, he's the closest. Those that are the closest to the compressors. So this is how they get around trying to meet our county minimum decibel readings. So I want to have it on record that I, as a resident, object to this type of inadequate testing. And if they consider it adequate, they pay for their engineers, and I want the county to do their own testing, because we are not protected. We have 40 compressor stations at this point in our county. And counting. This is outrageous that what we're being exposed to, besides the noise, all of the emissions, the tons of toxic emissions that are coming from these sites. And we need to have proper testing, and I want our county to do it. We have Act 13 money, we have all kinds of money. Let them order the engineers and do full 5 compressors running, testing next to the nearest homes. And then you will have an accurate reading, not this type of reading. So I want it to be done again for this gentleman. I want it to be done again when it's in full operation for the Tuttles. And I also want to say that we need to be able to be more on top of this. As far as Harford Township is concerned, they have their own ordinances which are stricter than the county. And Williams specifically is avoiding those ordinances. They decide to go by the county ordinance, which is less stringent. And why would they do that? Why don't they just do what is on the books? Follow the law. Otherwise, we're talking lawsuits here. You already have 1 lawsuit against the county, and we have lawyers that are waiting right now that will take a lawsuit that if they don't follow the township ordinance, that's what they should follow when they do. So I'm requesting at least 30 days or more for them to redo the test according to the township ordinance. And this is not asking too much. This is on the books. Otherwise, we will have to get lawyers to back us up on this. We're not being protected properly. Thank you.
Julie, would you like to say?
I would just like to say that in our letter to the county, we submitted our sound ordinance. We have recognized that the system that we've constructed does not have enough gas volume at this moment to run all 5 compressors, or 4 compressors, really, because our air permit restricts us to 4 compressors running at one time. And so there's not actually enough volume in the system to do that right now. We have sent Bob a letter and said that when we have full volume, we will retest. And we intend on doing that. We have full volume, recognizing that we don't have enough volume right now during the testing. So Williams recognizes that, and we are going to retest when we have enough volume in the system to do that. And it's on record with the county, because it was in the submission of the sound ordinance.
Was that for Harford or both?
It was for all the sound, everything that we submitted in December, which would be White, Miller, and Gibson. So I just want to clarify that to the Planning Commission, that Williams knows of the capacity of the engines, and we test them because it's in the report, and we will retest them at full load.
Then if you're going to retest them, then do not approve them until they're retested at full load. And when will you have enough volume? What is your projection?
I can't tell you that. I'm not in. That's really up to the producers, so you have to talk to the producers about that.
Have you got any reference from the past where you tested with less than full load and then tested later? Was there any significant change?
We haven't come into that situation yet. I can't recall, but I mean, I can't recall the number of stations that we've tested at full load. I have to go through the reports to see which ones are at 100% and which ones are less. If all of the ones, I can say that all the ones that weren't at full load will be retested at full load once you get all the volume. We have records and written to Bob about that too, to say that we will retest them at full load.
Well, Ms. Scroggins, I think you have two issues there. One with Harford Township, who have already contradicted themselves by sending us a note basically saying that they have no objections. And then the other thing is, we can't do anything without the county commissioners approving it. So if you can get the county commissioners to approve it, that's fine with us, but
Approve what part of it?
to have it, these retested, checked, basically.
Well, I'm requesting it as a resident. Are you requesting that too, to have retesting at full load? And I would like this, then for you to write a letter, you're the commission, to the county commissioners. I'll ask them also, but they should also receive a letter from you saying, we would like to see a full load testing, and not just a projection based on a computer computations, what they think might be. And of course it's going to be below the county limit. When have they ever shown a test? Williams has done this now dozens of times. When have they ever shown a test that's over the county limit? Or even at least 50? They haven't. Because they only do partial loads. They never give a test. She can't even come up with one test to show full load. And this is the game they play.
Snake Creek was done at full load. I just didn't know offhand because I don't have, I mean, we have a number of compressor stations. I don't have all the reports in front of me.
Snake Creek was also, I saw the report, it was done in partial load in the initial approval. And if you did any kind of full load, it was after the approval. Show me anything before final approval that you did on full load. And give us an
Snake
example.
Creek was at full load.
No,
but
it wasn't. I
to go
have
back
a copy of the
Okay, well,
actual testing. It was partial
If you
load.
have a copy of it, then you have a copy of it.
I specifically looked into that one.
Okay, all right, well.
I think the
can't-
people of Harford could save you and Williams some money for testing, because in Ordinance 42, it clearly states that no offensive noises, and since they have the technology to silence it, I think in Hartford we could just get it silenced, and you wouldn't have to test, and Williams don't have to test anymore either. We'll make it quiet.
Well, I brought it up to this gentleman about the soundproofing of that Miller station when I explained to him about the medical problems going on.
Yeah.
And it don't seem to really matter because you're dipping into their profits, see? That's the whole ball game.
It'll cost them more, but I'm sure that there's enough resources in this industry to pay for to meet
And I didn't sign
local
up.
requirements. I'm sure there's the resources.
Just like they put soundproofing on highways, you see all those big walls? They should be able to put concrete walls as high as we need it around these sites so that we don't have to listen to the noise, a constant noise hum 24/7, besides the emissions that are 24/7. They should be able to invest that kind of money without inflicting the citizens so that we have to have health issues besides and sleep deprivation so that they can do their particular industry. Put those walls up, find out what is needed, and start to require these things. And not have to play engineer. Otherwise, we have to get engineers' reports, requests from our county. We need full engineers' reports to see if their engineers' reports are correct, especially at full load, because that's when it's going to be, full load, not partial load.
We
I
have
don't want to see
requested
full load.
different times that they put up sound barriers with trees and make sure there's vegetation between and they've been good about that.
Yeah, but the sound waves that come out of the stations are low-frequency sound waves, and putting up a barrier wall will not help. It'll go around the wall and through the wall.
But they do have technology.
And I was told that by Williams.
So what technology would be good? Do you know of any technology to stop that sound?
Well, you have to contain it within the building itself, and that is doable.
It's been done.
And so why aren't they not doing it when we've had complaints throughout the county, all the different stations? Why are they not doing it?
Southwest does it.
Yeah, I think they'll do it now. I'm
Well,
sure we
Southwest
won't have
doesn't
any
have
problems
compressor
with.
stations.
I think Williams wants to be
Yeah, but
friends
they
with the
got-
community.
And,
I
and
think-
that is the case, but we do, I mean, we do these things. Our sound reports show that we're meeting compliance, dedicated meeting compliance with.
Not compliance with the local ordinance of Harford, though.
And you didn't meet, and you didn't
since
meet
you have
Crawford.
technology that you
If
can
in
meet those
fact
ordinances, it would be nice if you
ordinance-
did. Actually, it would be more than nice if you would meet the local regulations.
At least the
Can I
local,
suggest that we close public comment and move on with that meeting, please?
Okay, we'll do that.
Take that back. I don't wanna lose that.
Would there like to be a vote on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, public comment is discontinued. Old business, subdivision and land development review. The Williams Field Services Anderson Dehydration Facility, Industrial Development, Auburn Township, requesting final approval.
If you need to see maps.
Here we got two of them in there right now. Send out an extra one. Everybody's got one they can look at?
Okay, this is a dehydration facility, it's not a compressor station, okay? The reason it was before the planning commission is, again, is because there were two or three buildings there, and that met the ordinance requirement for a commercial development. At the May 2014 meeting, this commission granted conditional preliminary approval for the Williams Field Services Anderson Dehydration Facility in Auburn Township. Williams then revised its plan to include 2 more buildings at the site, and the plan was again reviewed by the Planning Commission at the regular meeting held on June 24th, 2014. At that meeting, the commission granted preliminary approval of the revised plan, conditioned on receipt of the municipal report form from the Auburn Township supervisors within the commission's allowable review period. On July 3rd, 2014, the municipality report form had been received. The plan was granted preliminary approval, and Williams was authorized to secure the necessary permits and develop the land in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. Now the development is complete, and Williams Field Services is requesting final approval of the development. I visited the site on December 11th and found it to be developed in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. As-built plans were prepared by civil and environmental consultants of Pittsburgh, PA. Staff recommendation is grant final approval of the Williams Field Services Anderson Dehydration Facility in Auburn Township.
Anybody have any questions about this? Anyone? Not, we'll entertain a motion to approval.
I make that motion, Mr. Chairman, and grant final approval of the Williams Field Service Anderson Dehydration Facility Plant in Harford Township.
And a second?
Second.
Eric, is that what you
Is that
want?
Harry?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same.
plan was approved for the Auburn dehydration.
Yeah, he's got to sign it.
Next item is the Williams Field Services Gibson Compressor Station, Industrial Development, Gibson Township, requesting final approval.
Do you have a map for that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's usually
The Susquehanna County Planning Commission at the regular meeting held on August 27, 2013, granted preliminary approval of a Weymouthfield Services / Gibson Compressor Station plan conditioned on receipt of the ESC GP-2 permit as issued by DEP, receipt of the sewer waiver from the Gibson Township supervisors or the appropriate regulating agency, and receipt of the municipality report form from Gibson Township supervisors within the Commission's allowable review period. On January 16, 2014, the 3 items above had been received. The plan was granted preliminary approval, and Williams was authorized to secure any necessary permits and to develop the land in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. Now the development is complete, and Weymouthfield Services is requesting final approval of the development. A sound study was completed by Hoover and Keith Incorporated, which shows that the sound levels of the building meet the requirements of the ordinance relative to sound. Nancy Harford and I visited the site on December 18th and found it to be developed in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. As-built plans were prepared by Kleinfelder Engineers of Laceyville, PA. Staff recommendation is grant final approval of the Weymouthfield Services Gibson Compressor Station plan in Gibson Township.
Provisions of this ordinance shall control.
I'll keep looking.
We have in the past required like setbacks and stuff.
Right.
Level setbacks and the like. Does anyone have any questions or comment from the board?
I'll make a motion to grant final approval of the Weymouthfield Services Gibson Compressor Station plan in Gibson Township.
Second. We have a motion and a second on the floor. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed, the same. Weymouthfield Services Gibson Compressor Station is approved. Signed up this thing. Are these the same? That's the next one. That's the next one, okay.
I just, we have to
Go by the ordinance.
quote something.
Right.
You know.
Well, shall I read that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is something we just found in the ordinance.
As I stated earlier, the planning commission goes by local ordinances, as I mentioned, the 35-foot setback, for instance, with building set, if a township has their own ordinance for, say, setbacks, the planning commission has gone by, has required that the plan meet those setbacks rather than the county's setbacks. But I was looking for something in the ordinance relative to what we were talking about here.
In Herrick Township, we have a zoning ordinance.
Right, right.
So when we get those review and comments, if it does not meet our zoning ordinance, we put, does not meet section whatever of our
Right.
zoning
I
ordinance.
found in our ordinance reference to local zoning ordinances. This isn't a zoning ordinance,
Right.
so that's why I was looking for
But
something
what I'm
else.
saying is that Herrick Township supervisors comment on there. You know, if it doesn't
Sure.
mean something.
Sure.
So I think Harford Township should have put,
Yes.
please be aware that we
Right.
have a
We
noise
have our- a
ordinance.
noise
So
ordinance.
that the
Right.
county knows.
Right. But I think I found something.
Instead of putting no objections, they should have put, what's the other recommendations? Well, you
Yeah.
have a number of things to
They can
check.
even say no objections contingent on meeting our noise ordinance.
That we have a noise ordinance, correct.
So in this particular article, 4, plan requirements, section 400, applications, I'm not going to read it all, I'll read the last paragraph, the last sentence. All other local, state, and federal permits and approvals shall be obtained by the applicant, which you have done, or shall be made a condition of approval by the commission or planning department. So we could approve the plan with the condition that they meet the requirements of Harford sound ordinance. Would that be reasonable?
I think so, but I'm not a lawyer, but that's
So
exactly.
that would give you a chance that they have to meet that before it's final.
Before they're running it?
And we don't put that on record until it,
Oh, okay. So before they run it full capacity, before they're fully operational, running it all the time, they have to.
again, I don't know about that, but.
They would have to meet
Because
Harford's.
we do have a letter from, like Julie said, that says that they will, for all three, I was thinking it was just for the one, for
Okay.
Gibson, but it references all three compressor stations that they will then be tested again once it's full, full board or whatever you call it.
But now with this, if you do it on a
Conditional.
conditional, if they don't meet the conditions within a certain time frame, what are the?
There's no time frame.
There's no time frame. Is there any anything that can be done to them if they don't ever meet the requirements?
Yeah. It'll never be approved, it'll never become final.
Oh, so it has to
If
wait.
we make it a condition,
Oh, okay.
it doesn't become final until the conditions are met.
Oh, thank you very much.
If the township doesn't have an established zoning ordinance, however, anything that comes through a site plan review is deferred to the highest level of zoning, which is the county's ordinance.
Right, right.
So therefore,
Yeah.
Harford Township does not have a zoning ordinance in place.
That's correct, they don't have a zoning ordinance.
Right.
No. They have a special purpose noise ordinance, though.
Right, we got a noise ordinance in Harvard.
So does that have any relevance?
Yeah, I believe it does, because that's what John was just reading. See, let me go back. I was looking for something, whenever the planning commission takes action, the secretary, Rick here, has to write a letter and say, it doesn't meet this, or, it doesn't meet this particular section of our ordinance. And that's what I was feverishly looking for, something in the ordinance that the planning commission could say, it doesn't meet the ordinance in this respect. We can't just say, oh, we don't like it, the planning commission's not going to approve. No, you have to.
Yeah, you can't put it
Law
off
says
forever.
that you have to point to something, you have to cite specifics, and that's what I was looking for.
So that would be very good. That's all we request is.
I did find in here, there was another section that says it has to apply to local zoning ordinances, but I know that's not a zoning ordinance. It's not a zoning ordinance, it's what they call a special purpose ordinance. But so is, I keep mentioning, referencing Bridgewater Township setbacks, that's a special purpose ordinance. Bridgewater also has a noise ordinance. I think, I was gonna say choking it, but I don't think you do. Do you have any special purpose ordinance?
No,
You
I
gotta
don't
stop
think so.
somewhere, but, anyway.
Can I just be clear about what you're proposing, that it be conditionally approved, subject to the township? I think you used the word compliance with township special use ordinance. But do we, I mean, the township may decide for whatever reason not to change the ordinance or not to comply. Can't we just refer it back to them for further consideration or whatever they need to do it, whatever they want to do with it? That's their business.
That's what you...
Because I thought your wording made it sound like that they would have to force Williams to comply with that, but we don't have the authority to.
No, we can't make the county can't make the township do anything. Yeah,
Right.
they have more power than the county.
So shouldn't we just be referring it back to them conditionally for, I don't know how you want, reconsideration or whatever term you want to use?
Oh, I see, not meeting the ordinance, for their determination
That's for
whether
them
it meets the
to
ordinance.
determine, right.
And then it
Well,
comes back.
basically, if a plan meets the ordinance, our ordinance, we don't really have any choice. We've got to approve it. So by approving it with these conditions, we're turning it back over to Harford Township.
Right.
And Williams. We're fulfilling our obligation, you know, to Harford, basically, and the public down there. But it also gives us a leg to stand on, that yes, it does say this in our ordinance, that basically the local rules apply.
But why are we required to approve something when we know it's not completely right?
Did this come back from Harford Township? Did it go to them and not
Yes.
come back again?
Came back with
It
no
came back
objections.
with no objections.
So you can't. It's gotta go through, right?
Send it back down to read the ordinance.
Well,
Well, they have a formal.
suggesting by doing that, we're interpreting the ordinance for them. And I don't think we ever in a position to do that.
Just for the sake of argument, I'm going to throw something out which is not going to be popular, but I'm going to say it anyway. What if the county approved it, and then it still doesn't meet the township ordinance? Then who's the onus on, you know? It's kind of forcing them to go to the township, you know,
I guess I would ask, why would the county pass it?
at all.
At all.
At all, yeah, okay.
I think we should just reject it, send it back to them.
Can we do that? We need a lawyer here.
Well,
Can we do that? Can the county
Then
do
table
that?
it and send it to our lawyer.
Okay.
And have them look at it and tell us what we need to do.
You're gonna have
But
to
I don't
stipulate
think we should approve it with conditions or anything.
You're gonna have to stipulate what you want in it.
Let him look at their ordinance,
Yeah,
let him
he
look
would
at our
say,
ordinance
can-
and tell us what we need to do.
Because the county planning commission can't say that it has to meet the ordinance. That's up to Hartford to determine, right? That's what you're saying, Chris, right?
Right.
But we can table plans,
They
correct?
can.
We're saying Hartford made a mistake.
I can't in good conscience say, yeah. go ahead, approve it.
Okay.
I think it needs to go back.
Or they just didn't, or they just didn't look into it.
Yeah,
That's more like
That's
it.
more like it. That's more like
Ordinance
it.
has been
Why
out
bother
for a
having
while.
ordinance if you're not going to
Right.
do
Well,
anything?
I think they made a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna argue that
That's
too with
possible, but that's
Hartford.
not for us as a group to determine,
Right.
that's for.
But since
some
the
other-
regulations aren't being met.
Well, you know,
We
there are
find a
times when
discrepancy,
regulations
we're
are
pointing it
away.
out, we
I'm
should
not
send it
suggesting
back.
they
I think
did
we
that,
should
but I don't
take it
have the
away.
ability to determine what they did. or didn't.
Well,
They
no,
could put that in
because
front of
it's
the
in the
public or something,
paperwork,
right?
they can't wait, they can't just
Temporary
say-
variances for
Right,
emergency
temporary.
fixes and other things like that. They can make noise all night if they're on an emergency or something. Or drilling a well, they can make noise from the drill, can make noise all night. But on a continuous, like a compressor station, they can't make that a
Yeah.
permanent noise maker in your
How
area.
is Hartford? Not really. It's a zero. What do you,
Yeah, you need to secure.
what do you
their-
think, Howie?
I mean, you're suggesting we table it, correct? And refer it to.
Yeah, I just can't in good conscience say we should give this preliminary approval.
But I think we should send them, Hartford, a letter in writing, and they have to, you have to get something
Yeah,
in
you gotta
writing.
give something in writing and a quote.
I mean, you do have in
something.
writing no objections, but I
It was
think you
brought
need a
to
letter
the-
from them that says that,
It was brought to the commission's attention that, you know, local ordinances are in effect.
and then they have to reply what they're gonna do.
But
their
the-
stance or whatever.
But, and I don't disagree with what you're saying, Nancy, but I think Rick, I mean, the first step is this needs to go to our legal counsel, and he needs to tell us where we stand. And then,
Okay.
and then, based on that, then probably the next step is gonna be exactly what you just said, I would think.
Well, the county solicitor did tell us if it meets our ordinance, we have to pass it.
Right.
That's
But
what we were told.
I'm questioning, what I'm questioning is what place does a local ordinance have, if it, not a zoning ordinance, I specifically, it refers to zoning ordinance.
Table it.
You know.
Table it and send it back for them to
Send it to the
clarify their
solicitor.
letter.
I mean, we could be approving garbage.
Hmm.
I don't like his phrasing.
Because the possibility is Harford Township really meant what they said and what they sent us.
Did they even look at it?
That's true.
Or did they decide what it was in the back?
Yeah.
Just the county sent it
Yeah.
back.
Do they
You
have a
have to take them at their
planning
word,
commission?
right?
Does Hartford have a planning commission?
Yeah.
So we just need them to clarify.
Yeah, they really need to look at it.
So you made a motion, right, Harry?
And should I read the memo or not?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
And so then we need a second, no?
Well,
Yeah.
let me get this here. You made a motion to table the plan until we talk to our council.
We're going to send it to our council and get his opinion and
And then,
Notify
and
Harford
reconsider at that point in time when we have that.
I would second that.
will the final approval for this, if it's later down the road, be open to, we can come and, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
It'll be back on the agenda. It's not, it wasn't conditional. So it was tabled, so it has to come back before the future meeting. So the table the plan, send to solicitor for his opinion, okay.
And notify Hartford.
Can you request a full testing of all engines instead of this partial testing that they're doing? So that we don't know exactly what you're dealing
I
with?
don't think we can request any more than what we have in the past. We've accepted their, by accepting the testing they have sent us.
See. The problem that the county has with having a maintenance ordinance, this, you know, we've been through this before. The subdivision ordinance is not meant to be a maintenance ordinance. A compressor station, noise, sawmill shop could meet the ordinance requirement today, and our county solicitor has stated this. It could meet it today. It could get approval tonight. Tomorrow, they could take all the sound barriers away, and it wouldn't meet the ordinance, but it got approval. We have no recourse to go back and take any approvals away. That's the problem with not having a zoning ordinance, having it in a subdivision ordinance, because it's not a maintenance, it's not a perpetual maintenance type of ordinance.
A snapshot.
And that comes from our county solicitor. He would back us up with that. It's not the right place for noise. You need zoning.
Well, what about making it conditional? You have a partial testing right now on only 2 engines, and then have a condition
Right,
that
but
after you've started full operation and you have full volume, that you test again and you have to do all the engines, and if you are over the limit, then what does that mean?
Well,
Can
then they have to fix that. But what I'm saying is, even with all of the engines running and they test it and say if they come up with it, it meets the ordinance, okay? The next day after it gets approval, it could go, it could not meet the ordinance, but it already has approval. Because once you approve it, it's this land development, it doesn't, this ordinance does not meet with what you guys are complaining about. You need zoning to control things like that. You know, this is a planning document, it's not a maintenance document. It's just the way it works.
Right.
And Gibson was, had zoning on the table and they rejected it. Others, choking it, same way, those from choking it.
Did any township approve zoning?
Nope.
Nobody,
No,
right?
no.
Nobody did.
We had, what,
Harry
Bill?
has some.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
Yeah,
you
when-
had that. I mean,
Yeah,
that was,
we've had it since 1988,
yeah.
You've
We
had zoning?
a zoning ordinance.
We had 6 township, 4 townships, 2 boroughs on the eastern side of the county. We had, what, Bill, 12 or 13? On the northwestern? 12 municipalities. Not one of them passed zoning.
So can we start again zoning? How, we have to do it by a township?
That's up to each municipality.
Each municipality has, so if we want to, we could do it individually by the townships, right?
That's the only way it could be done.
There's still an ordinance, right, Bill? You still have a physical ordinance sitting there that could be adopted if the townships wanted to.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the floor to table this particular plan. All you in favor say yes or aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The plan has been tabled.
Get on my soapbox.
Township. Ready for the next one, Bob? Okay, we're down now to Williams Field Services White Compressor Station. Yeah, I know. Back here.
I've been holding it.
White Compressor Station, Industrial Development, Springville Township, requesting final approval.
The Susquehanna County Planning Commission at their regular meeting held on May 28, 2013, granted preliminary approval of the Williams Field Services / White Compressor Station plan conditioned on receipt of the ESCGP-2 permit as issued by DEP, receipt of the sewer waiver from the Springville Township supervisors, and receipt of the municipality report form from the Springville Township supervisors within the commission's allowable review period. On August 13, 2013, the 3 items above have been received. The plan was granted preliminary approval and Williams was authorized to secure any necessary permits and to develop the land in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. Now the development is complete and Williams Field Services is requesting final approval of the development. A sound study was completed by Hoover and Keith Incorporated, which shows that the sound levels of the building meet the requirements of the ordinance relative to sound. I visited the site on December the 11th and found it to be developed in accordance with the approved preliminary plan. As-built plans were prepared by civil and environmental consultants of Pittsburgh, PA. Staff recommendation grant final approval of the Williams Field Services / White Compressor Station plan in Springville Township.
Anyone have any questions or comments on this particular plan? Not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the plan.
I'm making a motion, Mr. Chairman, with that. Final approval of the Williams Field Service White Compressor Station plan in Springville Township.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second for approval of the plan. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Plan is approved.
Little ones. I see. Okay, ready? Charles and Sandra Barton, 425 Barton Road, Susquehanna, PA, have proposed a major non-residential subdivision of the lands located on an access road from Township Road 771 in Harmony Township. In reviewing the plan, the following items are called to your attention. Number one, by definition, this is a major non-residential subdivision due to the proposed lot not having public road frontage. Number two, application affidavit of ownership and filing fee has been received. Number three, survey maps were prepared by Barrett Surveying and Mapping, Joe Barrett, RPLS, and depict the following. A, Lot A7 contains 27.298 acres and has an average width of 733 feet, 300 feet required. B, Lot A1 was deeded to the Pennsylvania Game Commission in Deed Book 396, page 956 on March 30th, 1981. Proposed Lot A2 was never conveyed from Charles and Sandra Barton, so now they are conveying it to the East German Sportsman's Club. C, a waiver form on sewer planning is being submitted for Lot A2. And D, Lot A2 will be accessed through an existing access road from Township Road 771. Harmony Township does not require a driveway permit for township roads. And the access road we recommend being shown on the map. Number four, the Harmony Township supervisors were notified on November 21st, and their meeting was scheduled for December 2nd. I don't think we got anything back from them.
No.
We did, okay. Staff recommendation, grant preliminary and final approval of the plan conditioned on receipt of a copy of the approved waiver of sewer planning, a copy of a map showing the existing access road, and receipt of the municipality report form within the commission's allowable review period. This needs some explaining. They sold a piece out of the middle, and these two they don't touch anymore. Let's see. That one, I think it's here or something like that. Yeah, Lands of Barton, there and there don't touch, or A2 or something like that. But one of those deals where they sold, somebody did something a while back, and they created these two non-contiguous pieces. So now they just want to sell this lot to the hunting club, but we said they need to at least show some access to it. There is a legally deeded access, but it's not shown on the map, I guess. Right, Eleanor? Am I saying that right?
Yep.
They have a legally deeded access?
That's according to Joe Barrett, yeah. We haven't seen it, but.
Where is Lot A7? That contains,
Is that this?
should that be shown?
Yeah. Where, do you know where?
Lot A7 contains.
Is that the Lands of Barton?
It should be Lot A2.
Oh, is that a typo? Okay.
So A2 is actually A7?
A2,
That's
okay.
correct.
That's why.
A2, right?
It should be
A Lot
A2.
A2.
Okay, Lot A2.
contains- Okay.
That should be shown on there too.
What?
That should be
Yeah, it's on,
shown.
that's the big one, A2.
But they don't show it as Lot 7.
No, it's 8 is 2.
There was a
7 is
typo in
incorrect.
the-
Oh.
in
The
his memo.
secretary made a mistake.
In the memo. Because if they should be shown on the map, shouldn't they, so you can follow it?
But there was, let's see, I understood it when Joe explained it, now I can't explain it.
I forgot what he said.
Yeah, they sold this.
They sold
leaving
A1 to the game
They sold
land.
A1, leaving A2, but A2 is not physically connected to the other lands of Barton, which are
Right.
down.
And they never conveyed that to anybody, so
Right,
it was
right.
just,
They
they
sold
still
a part
owned
of
it.
it, and they still owned.
And that was subdivided before A2 and
In
A1?
when did I say?
Middle of
1981.
Yeah, March 30th.
So it was already.
We weren't here at the time, so.
And I see this access road crosses lands of Parsons.
Yeah, and that's what we're saying, you have to show that you have legal access to cross somebody else's land, right? You can't just say,
Did they say it's in a deed, or did they have a letter, or what
Do you
did they
remember
have?
what Joe said? Joe Barrett?
He said that it was in a deed, you went up in the courthouse. to
Right, I
get-
couldn't find it,
And you
yes,
could
I
not
could not
find,
find
because
it,
they
yeah.
didn't do any of the maps.
Right, yeah. So he said he would find it or something, but we haven't gotten it yet, so.
Well, that should be another condition.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I said, map showing the existing access road. Because you can't, you know, if you approve it, then you're approving somebody, you're going across somebody else's land.
Exactly. And the game lands, they don't look
They shoot
very
people.
favorably on that. I think you're in big trouble. Any other questions about this one?
That was the main thing, the access.
By the way, we would buy a couple things on the, or, to get to that.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to
Back up a
here.
minute, yeah, okay, well, there's no action needed on that anyway, so. Okay.
Well, I'll mention them though.
Yeah.
Oh, we better vote on this one. Somebody like to make a motion to approve this plan?
Contingent upon the staff recommendations.
Okay. A second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Would everyone in favor like to say aye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Okay, the Charles and Sandra Barton parcel is approved. Now we gotta back up, we skipped over something. Report of finalized conditional approvals. And there's two on there, Thomas Rusky, Mary, David, and Anita Rusky, I take it too.
Right.
2 lots, minor non-residential subdivision, Forest Lake Township. Requesting conditional final approval. Received the township's comment of no objections. Approved December 10th, 2014. Trehab, the Meadows at Tiffany Pines. 40-unit multi-family housing development, townhouses, Bridgewater Township. Received DEP approval of the water system. Approved December 22nd, 2014.
Those are both on the agenda last month.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve? You
No,
don't have to do that.
No, you already did it. You gave them conditional approval, and the only reason I list them is just to show you that it, what happened.
The parking lot is partially full.
That's what I hear, yeah.
Yeah. Well, partially, I don't know how many cars there are, but there's people living there. Yep.
Okay. Now we're up to Jeanette Buhite, 1 lot, major subdivision, Appalachian Township, requesting conditional preliminary and final approval.
You got those. Is that how you pronounce it?
Buhite. That's how she pronounced it. Everybody got a copy of this?
Oh, that's.
How did you pronounce that name, John?
Buhite. Buhite.
Jeanette Buhite, 416 Promenade Drive, Madison, Alabama, has proposed a 2-lot major residential subdivision. Township of her, what is that? Township of her lands located on the west side of State Route 858, 1/4 mile south of Bow Bridge Road. Lot 6 is located on a 30-foot right-of-way in Appalachian Township. In reviewing the plan, the following items are called to your attention. 1, by definition, this is a major subdivision due to the proposed lot not having public road frontage. 2, application affidavit of ownership have been received. The filing fee is still needed. 3, survey maps were prepared by Butler Land Surveying, Scott Williams, PLS, and depict the following. A, Lot 6 contains 10 acres and has an average width of 828 feet, 300 feet required. B, remaining lands contain 82.33 acre and are proposed for as a non-residential lot. A waiver on sewer planning has been proposed. Our office has not yet received it. Lot 6 is developed with house, barn, existing sand mound, and well, and accessed by way of the existing 30-foot right-of-way. D, a copy of an access description for the right-of-way will be submitted. The existing 30-foot right-of-way has been recorded in deed book 348, page 844 to 846. 4, the Appalachian Township Supervisors were notified on November 25th, 2014, received the municipality report form on December 3rd, 2014, with no objections. Staff recommendation, grant preliminary and final approval of the plan, conditioned on receipt of the filing fee, copy of the approved waiver of sewer planning, and a copy of a map showing the existing 30-foot right-of-way. There's an attorney that is doing the work for this lady. So.
She's down in Alabama. She's down in Alabama.
But those are the 3 things that are lacking.
Anyone have any more questions or suggestions on this lot? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve it. That's in my area, so somebody else.
How can you get that approved, John, when you don't have a septic report or anything on it?
We give
Conditional.
We give conditional approval.
Okay, all right.
No, it doesn't become final until they get all these things in the office.
I'll second it.
Nobody made a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. You said you couldn't make a motion. I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded that?
Yeah.
Opposed, the same. Blue Light Lane, subdivision is approved, subject to the conditions. Act 170, review and comment, none at this time. Subdivisions and land development staff actions, attached listing through December 24th, 2014. Okay, minor subdivision additions and additions. Market Draft, New Milford Township, 2 lots, 12.60 acres and 12.60 acres. Remaining lands, 92.53 acres. Approved December 1st, 2014. Earl and Robert Newton, Bridgewater Township, 3 lots, 0.02 acres, 0.07 acres, and 0.10 acres. Remaining land, 63.52 acres. Approved December 8th, 2014. Minor subdivision, new lots. James Robertson, Lennox Township, 1 lot, 10 acres. Remaining lands, 231 acres. Approved December 3rd, 2014. Endless Mountains Health System, Bridgewater Township, 1 lot, 1.90 acres, and 1 lot addition, 0.03 acres. Remaining lands, 14.5 acres. Approved December 8th, 2014. Alvin and Linda Miller, Brooklyn Township, 1 lot, 2 acres. Remaining lands, 54 acres. Approved December 22nd, 2014. Major subdivision blue lots, there's none at this time. Land development through December 26th, 2014. Joseph and Billy Dimchak, Auburn Township. Second dwelling on 1 lot, 71 acres. Approved December 4th, 2014. Glenn and Jeanette Smith, Bridgewater Township. Second dwelling on one lot, 267 acres. Approved December 8th, 2014.
Do you want a motion to give a
Sure.
Second.
Make a motion to concur with staff. Approval of minor subdivisions additions through 12/26/14, minor subdivisions new lots through 12/26/14, and land development through 12/26/14.
Okay, seconded. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving those, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Motion is approved. Are there any other items of discussion among the members of the board? I will see if there's any discussion first. Okay, go on.
I just wanted to remind you.
Yeah, I probably would have forgotten it if you.
Or you'll be stuck with it again.
Well, I don't know if it works that way.
Well, we can make it.
We wouldn't have a meeting probably. Think anybody wants to discuss? Okay, it's time for nominating committee for officers for next year. So is there anyone who would like to volunteer? Ted?
I'll start. How many people do you want on?
3.
Usually 3.
I'll start with
Chris.
Chris
and Harry's thing.
and Harry.
Great.
Okay, prepare a slate of officers for us for next meeting, the first meeting of the year. You'll vote before the meeting.
Yeah, I usually advertise the meetings, the yearly meetings in January. And I looked through the calendar, there were no conflicts with the holidays, except this kind of week again next year. You know, falls between Christmas and New Year's, if that's all right.
Sure. It is.
Yeah, it is. Because if you move it up, it's just too, it's only like 2 weeks from the last meeting, and then you have 8 weeks till or 6 weeks till the following meeting. So as long as you don't mind meeting Christmas week or this week.
Well, it's easier to meet around New Year's than it is around Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be the 29th, I guess, next year.
Anything else anyone wants to discuss? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
John.
Excuse me, would you let the public say something?
John, I'd just like to introduce John Ramsey. He's going to be taking Bernie Griffin's place starting at your next session.
Yeah, I met him on the way in, so.
Yeah.
Your name again?
I don't know where he lived.
Harry Phillips.
Yeah. But the commissioners will have to appoint John.
Yep.
I have something I'd like to give the planning commission. I wrote down, I wanted to say to you because I can't remember anything. I came to this meeting because I'm concerned that citizens are being exposed to emissions from oil and gas development that have serious health effects. So I have this booklet here, I'll give the planning commission, and you can have it available to the public. This is information from a peer-reviewed article published in the Journal of Environmental Health. The study was one cited by Governor Cuomo's team to ban fracking in New York State because of an emerging body of scientific evidence documenting real health risks. As you discussed earlier, since we don't have zoning here, we have heavy industry next to our homes, schools, and hospitals with no fence line monitoring. So these data are warning signs to place greater emphasis on avoiding health hazards. And I just wish all of you, and as a body, would make it clear to our state legislature that your constituents need adequate regulations to protect our health. And as a planning commission, you could devise a safety plan and ask the state to give you the ability to implement it. because you're always saying that all the permits agree with the regulations, and you have no other regulations to help us. So if you could get together and know what's hazardous and try to come up with a plan to protect us, and then ask the state to help you do it. So this is a little booklet, and then there's this extra little thing. So if you keep it on your desk and everybody can see it.
Is it online also, Barbara?
I don't know, is it?
Yes, it
The
is.
whole
Okay.
thing?
I think it is.
There's probably a link to this. big
Yeah, that's what I
booklet.
wondered, if there was a link, I could send a link or.
Okay. We'll see if you get it.
That Journal of Environmental Health, and there's a number of newspapers that wrote
Okay.
about it too.
I'll do that.
Thank you.
So you gotta sign it.
Okay.
Guess we're done.
We're done.
That's it.
You know, I looked, usually roll, park on my side, but